primary coming up on March 17th. And it's going to be hard not to call you Chief through this whole interview. But Ben, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. It's good to be here in a different capacity.
It is.
It's been a 7-month journey that we have talked about privately on occasion, but not mixing business with campaign. It's good to be here to finally be able to talk about the campaign for my candidacy for DeWitt County Sheriff.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you what, Ben, take us back. You've been in Clinton and DeWitt County basically your whole life. Just give us your background and your journey to this place.
Yeah. So about myself, I'm Ben Lowers. I'm born and raised here in Clinton. My family background, I'm the son of Ted and the late Ruth Lowers. My parents originally from Mason County, Easton, Illinois, but came here in the early 1970s. So I was born and raised here. My family comes from a multi-generation agriculture background. Row crop farming and livestock production. But during the time here, my parents, while they came here with the agriculture industry, they engaged in multiple business adventures. Mm-hmm. Most commonly known through Lowers Catering and the founders of Ted's Garage. Mm-hmm. And my mom served as the administrative assistant in the circuit judge's office for about 30 years. And so while agriculture is my background, I always had an interest in law enforcement. To back up, I'm the youngest of 3 siblings. I have 2 older sisters. My oldest sister, Katie, is a counselor here at Clinton High School, and my sister, Jennifer, a nurse over in Springfield. Married to my wife, Nicole, and together we have 5 children and 3 grandchildren. So again, kind of rooted in a family background of agriculture, but from a young age had an interest in law enforcement, much due to some influences of friends of my parents. The late and at that time retired state troopers Bill Yakel and Jim Hart, but as much as anything, a childhood neighbor in Mike Mannix, who was an ISP state police investigator. Mm-hmm. I had 2 sons my age that also grew up to become police officers and investigators, one with the state police, one with the Macon County Sheriff's Office. And so while a good portion of my childhood was kind of surrounded by agriculture and my interest and passion there, always had a great interest in law enforcement, and graduated Clinton High School in 1993. Go Maroons, and then attended Lakeland College. And again, through college, my focus was agriculture, but it was circumstances. Just as I got out of college, my grandfather passed away. I moved over to take care of his farm for a period of years. And it was during that time over in Mason County that I had the opportunity to join the Mason County Sheriff's Office. And I started out as a 911 dispatcher. And corrections officer in the Mason County Jail before I went into sworn law enforcement and attended the University of Illinois Police Training Institute. And great experience over there for the short time that I was there, a number of 4 or 5 years. And at first opportunity I had to come back to my hometown and serve the Clinton Police Department, I jumped at that opportunity. So joined the Clinton Police Department in 2001, obviously as a patrol officer under Chief Mike Reedy, and was promoted to sergeant in 2003. Mm-hmm. In 2003, I was a sergeant, but also was considered the administrative sergeant. I handled the department's training, payroll, scheduling, mm-hmm. things of that nature, and administrative aspect. Throughout my career, I've been a field training officer. I've taken a great interest in training and further development of my career. I've served as a field training officer, a master firearms instructor, and tactical instructor. All through my years as sergeant, as well as supervising a patrol shift. But was promoted to deputy chief in 2012, and then chief of police in 2013 with the retirement of Mike Reedy.
There you go. I know Chief Reedy was very close personal friend of yours, he was
a great mentor of mine. And outside of work, I'm an avid outdoorsman. Mm-hmm. A lot of the ways of life or the traditions of many other residents in DeWitt County. I'm an avid outdoorsman, passionate sportsman. Very involved in 4-H growing up here in DeWitt County, that has turned into a lifelong passion for the show cattle industry that my wife and I and our families have indulged in a nationwide aspect. So mm-hmm. All began right here in 4-H growing up in DeWitt County.
There you go. Very good. Again, Ben Lowers seeking the candidacy for the sheriff's term of sheriff in DeWitt County, coming up on the March 17th ballot for the primary in DeWitt County. I go back back to your introduction of your campaign back in, what was that, July, August? Yeah, August of last year. And, I guess go back to that moment, Chief, and why you decided to run for sheriff.
Well, since I started with the sheriff's department over in Mason County in 1996, I mean, the moment I got in there and the more I became embedded into that and understanding the law enforcement and the methods of the sheriff's office, it quickly became my goal to someday return to Clinton and DeWitt County to serve law enforcement here. But also, as a 21-year-old kid, a dream to someday run for sheriff. And so I've never lost sight of that. The truth being, in 2001, when I had the opportunity to come back to Clinton, had I had the opportunity between the Clinton PD and the sheriff's office, I probably would have gone to the sheriff's office. I knew Roger Massey personally, knew a couple of the people in the office, and knew nothing about Clinton Police. But Clinton Police is where the opportunity was. And so I jumped at that opportunity. I considered transferring in 2003 when there was an opportunity to do so. But at that particular time, there was a promotion in the horizon ahead of me. And so at that moment, I decided to commit to Clinton PD for a career, actually, and was promoted to sergeant. The rest was history there. But, from the beginning of this back to August 1st, I've committed to running a clean and positive campaign. My focus has never been running against the current sheriff, but rather running for me and for what I think that I can bring to the office and the citizens of DeWitt County. I've worked with the sheriff for 25 years. We get along well. I think that it's fair to say that we're different personalities. We're different leaders, and we probably have different goals and different visions for the future. And so, this has not been personal for me. I should say it's not personal against the current sheriff. I talk about that this election comes down to opportunity. One candidate who's had 2 terms worth of opportunity to fulfill and complete what he saw as he wanted to accomplish, and one that's very eager for that opportunity. And so, I've always known that I wanted to run someday. The question wasn't if, the question was if the opportunity would arise, and when is someday. The days and weeks are long, but the years are short. And after much consideration and thought, someday is here.
Sure. Well, let's dive into, again, with Ben Lowers seeking the candidacy for sheriff in the upcoming primary on March 17th in DeWitt County. Campaign motto, Chief. I'm sorry, Ben, what's your campaign motto?
Yeah. So you know what, not sticking to the traditional mottos of a lot of political campaigns, putting some thought into it. Very proud to come up with some things that I think speak for my vision for the future, and that is engage, empower, protect. That's the campaign motto that I decided early on. Each of them carrying a dual meaning and applied internally and externally to the public that we serve. Applied internally within the agency, within the department, the office, and also externally within the public. Starting off with engage, that's from the inside. That's my career progression from patrol officer. Every officer has their own niches and their own interests and their own passions that they pursue, whether that's drug investigations or traffic enforcement or DUI enforcement things. Mine has kind of always been investigations and training. And so, having that career progression from being a very proactive patrol officer and very engaged in investigations, but also taking every opportunity for training and then becoming the trainer, the field training officer, the firearms instructor, things of that nature, and being able to mentor from the front. Those are things that I have done, very hands-on. For me, it's not about a title. It's about making a difference. It's about making a difference in each officer that I can encounter and mentor. Making a difference, one officer, one encounter, one victim, and one life at a time. I love inspiring young officers when they come in that, it will be impossible to ever remember every encounter you have, but the people you encounter will never forget their one encounter with you. And so just that inspiring. I love what I do. I love teaching and inspiring officers to be the best that they can be at serving our public. And so, that's being engaged with the people that you serve. And that's done by example, and that's done from the front. Externally, countywide. Engage relates to a community policing approach that we see within the Clinton Police Department. You see within a lot of municipalities, but there's no reason that can't be applied, to a sheriff's office as well, serving the rural communities and the smaller communities out. I have a focus on enhancing relationships with each community. Each municipality and the rural community alike. And that's through an increase in visibility and stronger engagement with those folks, interacting not just in a time of crisis, but in the good times too. I have spent the last 7 months, I'm not a politician, but getting out and meeting the people and trying to be everywhere I could be. I've attended every village and municipal board meetings multiple times within the county, just trying to interact with those folks, see what matters most to them, and see what their needs are. And I think that's an important role of the sheriff, to be engaged. I'd like to increase the engagement in our school system from the sheriff's office. While the Clinton Police Department and the Farmer City Police Department, who each house school districts within our county, while they are heavily engaged with those school districts, I don't know what the percentage is, but let's just say half of the kids bus in from the country. And so, I think it's important that we be involved with that, collaborate with those municipal agencies to also have a presence in that school system as well. I think the sheriff, is somebody that should be out there, not only professionally, but personally as well. And for me, that's not been just a part of the job, but rather, that's been a way of life for me. Strong supporter in the schools, strong supporter, been involved in a lot of organizations, strong supporter of the veterans, the WHOW organization that we talked about before. I personally attended nearly every honor flight reception, took my kids along because I have a tremendous respect for those. Obviously I provided the support for my community, utmost respect for those that have provided, a dedication and support to our country. Huge advocate of the outdoor and conservation efforts here in DeWitt County, Pheasants Forever, National Wild Turkey Federation, and Ducks Unlimited, things that I've attended for years and years and a strong supporter of. So.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you what, Chief, we're getting, close to a break. Anything you want to add along the lines?
After the break, we'll get into Empower and Protect.
And
go from there.
Very good. All right. We're talking with Ben Lowers. He is seeking the candidacy for sheriff in the upcoming March 17th primary in DeWitt County on the Republican ticket, and we'll talk more with Ben coming up on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Wednesday. I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network. Corn, beans, and Chicago wheat starting the day higher. May corn up 6 1/4, 458.5. July corn up 7, 470 1/4. December new crop 486 up 6 1/4. May beans opening 12.20 up 18 1/4. July beans up 18, 12.33. November new crop 11.64.5 up 11. May Chicago wheat 598.5 up 7.5. July KC wheat 633 1/4 up a dime. May bean meal down 40 cents, 314.10. May bean oil 68.09 up 247. Energy market April crude oil up 252, 85.97. Checking the opening numbers on this Wednesday morning. Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network. This is
March into Baum Chevrolet Buick and march out with a new Chevrolet. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. We have over 20 Silverados to fit your daily work needs in 1500, 2500, and 3500s in gas or diesel, all sale priced. Also, check out the Colorado pickup. This size and maneuverability may be another option as well. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. Baum Chevrolet Buick. Right from the start.
Good morning. I'm Ben Lowers, and I'm running for DeWitt County Sheriff. As your sheriff, I'll continue to be an active participant in the community. For 25 years with the Clinton Police Department, I've made it a priority to serve beyond the badge. From leading our DARE program to serving on the DeWitt County Triad, DeWitt County Housing Authority, and Human Resource Center boards. I've lived, worked, volunteered, and served alongside you because I care about our community. I'm ready to bring that same hands-on leadership countywide to the sheriff's office. I'm Ben Lowers, and I'm asking for your vote on March 17th.
Paid for by citizens to elect Ben Lowers.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio today is Ben Lowers, seeking the candidacy for DeWitt County Sheriff in the March 17th primary. And Ben, I tell you, let's talk just a little bit. You mentioned your motto. Let's talk empower. Let's talk protect. Your motto, of course, is engage, empower, and protect. How about this?
Yeah. So we move on to empower. That again, dual application internally within the agency, and that empowerment comes with staff development. We want to foster a culture of growth and opportunity for those officers. And I think that has worked well with Clinton. I think that is something that could certainly be done within the sheriff's office. Recruitment, retention, and turnover has been a struggle for all small agencies, over the last 5 or 6 years, and not only small agencies, large agencies as well. But, Clinton and DeWitt County are not immune to that. But I will say, over the course of my tenure, we've had 7 employees transfer from the sheriff's department to the police department, and you're going to hear that that's mainly due to an increase in salary and health insurance. However, I think the $5,000 to $10,000 increase in salary is minuscule compared to the opportunities in the surrounding cities where that increase is $30,000 to $40,000. And out of 7 employees, only 2 of them have taken our health insurance. And so I think that also comes down to a standard of culture, and again, fostering that culture of growth and opportunity for those officers. Externally, I think the empowerment, adapting to change. It is no secret that I am not a proponent. I've been a strong opponent of the Safety Act and the reduction of pretrial incarceration, but they didn't ask me. And so, I think that we have to have a vision and an ability to adapt to the legislation that's provided to us. And that's why, I've taken a strong look at the foundation, the root of criminal behavior. And that's why I've been a strong proponent of our recovery resources, mental health crisis, addiction, substance use disorder, and some of the things that I've been a strong supporter and proponent of there in terms of the introduction of safe passage in 2016, our local Ross community, and recently our deflection initiatives through DART. We move on to protect, obviously the protection of our people, keeping them up to date with training, scenario-based training. There's no question that over the course of my career that has been a passionate focus of mine. Not only my own training, but making sure that our staff is adequately trained and trained, to the best of our ability. Proactive patrol and an increase in visibility countywide. I do believe that one of the strongest deterrents of crime is flashing lights. I'm not saying that that's a matter of going out on a ticket writing campaign by any means, but I think visibility and knowing that those officers are out there and active is a strong deterrent for crime. One of the big things that I'm asked about, and certainly something that I'm very passionate about, is the protection of constitutional rights. The sheriff's oath is to uphold the Constitution. And in DeWitt County, the Second Amendment isn't controversial. Quite frankly, it's a way of life. And coming from an avid outdoorsman, a lifelong sportsman, a shooting sports fanatic, and a firearms instructor and a gun owner myself, I'm a strong proponent and supporter of the Second Amendment. Law-abiding gun owners aren't the problem. Criminals are. And I think that's where we need to keep our focus is on the enforcement of where it belongs, of violent criminals and those that misuse firearms, and not law-abiding citizens. I read something here on Facebook just within the last month or so that really stuck to me, and it said that if the First Amendment applies to radio, TV, and internet, and the Fourth Amendment applies to electronics and video surveillance, then the Second Amendment still applies to modern weaponry. So, again, a very strong proponent of the Second Amendment. The sheriff's role isn't to play political theater or carry out ideological agendas, but rather to uphold the Constitution, apply the law fairly, and protect the rights of the people.
Very good. Very good. Well, Chief, about a minute here before we need to, get to why folks should vote for you. But again, anything in that minute you want to put out there that we haven't touched on at this point?
Some of my focus obviously is, things that are circumstances here that we face every day. We've got a tremendous drug problem, not just here in Clinton and DeWitt County. This is a problem nationwide. The opioid crisis, the meth use and encounters have tripled in the last decade. And while we've not had the ability to have an officer assigned to Task Force 6 since 2018, that's a shared position between the sheriff's office and the police department. We still do have the sheriff's office has an assignee there that we work closely with, but we've prioritized our limited staff, and we've quite frankly, between the two options there, we have prioritized keeping an officer in the school and active and visible in the schools, but we've not let that go with drug enforcement. We have a very strong canine program, something that I would like to reintroduce at the sheriff's office. Our last 2 dogs have been paid for with grants. We've got tremendous amount of deployments and seizures of drugs through our canine program, in addition to the public relations and the ability to use that dog in our schools and offer that to other schools around us. Our DUI enforcement's been strong in the last 5 years. So things of that nature.
Sure.
I want to talk about my fiscal responsibility. Obviously, the sheriff's role is not only to provide, police protection or law enforcement protection to the county, but also serves as officers of the court, custodian of the jail, the courthouse, and the county building. My fiscal responsibility, 12 years as chief of police, I've led a $1.6 million budget and kept that into check, but also have been able to supplement our budget with proactive seeking of grants. Our vests are paid for partially with grants. Our taser program that we just redid with grants, computers and our radios, things of that nature.
Sure. Well, Chief, I got 1 minute with you. Why should folks vote for you for sheriff when it comes to come to the ballot on March 17th?
I think when first of all, fairly enough, that this is actually the first time since 2010, when Jared Schaffner was elected sheriff, that the citizens of DeWitt County have had a choice in their election of their sheriff. And so, I think it comes down to when the decision comes for sheriff, it's easy to simply compare the number of years that each candidate has behind them. But I believe more importantly, the question is, what does the person have left to give to the profession, the citizens of DeWitt County? This job isn't just about time served in the office. It's about a vision for the future of law enforcement in our county. And it's about adapting to change while still protecting the values that make our county special. It's about the ability to connect with the next generation, develop them and instill in them the value and the responsibility moving forward. So I bring 30 years of experience, very vast experience. And because leadership isn't measured and how long someone's held a position is measured in the commitment, energy, and dedication, they're still willing to give to the people they serve. And I'm eager to give that to the citizens of DeWitt County as your next sheriff.
That's Ben Lowers, candidate for sheriff in the March 17th primary. Our guest in studio. Network news on the way.
WHOW.
The Big 1520 WHOW Clinton, along with 92.3 FM Clinton and 106.5 FM Bloomington Normal.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. The Pentagon says Iran's missile and drone launches have dropped sharply as the U.S. and Israel carry